Hi, I'm Patricia from Trisha's Lovely Creations. Welcome to my creative space. This is a contest video, so be sure to stay tuned all the way to the end for the rules. Today, this is what I'm going to be using, and they're all from OJoy Creations INC.com. So I'm using one of her texture rollers, her collar necklace template, and I'm also going to be using one of her silk screens in this video. And I'm also using Apple Barrel's satin black. I prefer that I didn't use the satin, but that's all I had on hand at the time, so you want to use a matte finish. So I've got my clay here, and I'm rolling it through on a setting 0. And I'm just laying it out here, trying to make sure I have no bubbles in it. Now I'm going to take and fold that in half, trying to make sure that I get no bubbles in there, make sure I get them all out. Trying to make sure which way I want to go with it here. And now I'm going to take some cornstarch before I roll this out and spread it on the clay. You don't need very much, just a little. Put a little bit on there and tap it off, and then spread it across there. There, I see I got too much. And too much again. I really loaded it up, but I wanted to make sure it didn't stick, so brush off all that excess there. Now I'm going to try here with firm, even pressure and just roll that across the clay nice and slow, taking my time. I want to make sure I get it all textured. We're going to do a mica shift is what we're doing. And it came out beautifully, I must say. Okay, now I'm going to take and cut off the excess sides on here. Just trying to line it up, cut right through it, right on that edge. I love her texture rollers. This came out beautifully. It really did. Take off that other side. Cut off that little bit at the bottom there. Now what I want to use is my tissue blade. It's nice and flexible to shave this off to show the mica shift. And I'm always afraid I'm going to cut too deep, so this may take me a while, but don't worry, I will fast forward through this so it's not so long. now I'm just going to pick this up here and I'm going to run it through my pasta machine on a setting 0. Okay, and now I'm going to run it through on a setting 2. Okay, now that I have it ran through on a setting 2, I'm going to get out my color cutter here. I'm just going to lay it on there and I'm going to size it up. Take my blade and just make a cut where I need it. And I'll follow that along. Okay, I'm just going to smooth that out, making sure I have no air bubbles under there. And I'm going to place my cutter where I need it. I'll push down on it pretty good. Do a little bit of a wiggle here. That way my sides are good and cut. Okay. I'm going to take a tool here and I'm just going to kind of poke it here and make a line right along that template there. I'm going to take my blade and I'm just going to go along the other side, on the other side of that. Pull it up. I'm going to remove the excess here. I'm going to take and make a clean cut there with my blade. And I'll do the same on this side. I'll go ahead and lift this up. Place it in better view. Make sure that I got all the sides all smoothed out. I don't want them jaggedy at all, so just flattening that out. Here we go. Smooth that back out. And I'm going to get my silk screen. Got my water ready to go to drop that into the minute I am done. So I can clean it up. So there is a film on the back of Joy's silk screens that you need to peel off first. Make sure you do that. I'm just going to make sure this is on here nice and secure. It does have a sticky back, so that really helps. Now I'm going to take my black paint and I have me a little scraper here. I'm going to draw me a line of paint at the widest end so it's easier. And I'm just going to scrape that on there. And go back the other way. Making sure I got it good and covered. Like I said, this is going to go right into my water. So now we have silk screened our piece that has also been mica shifted. And I'm going to pop that onto my baking tile. After it's dry, you want to wait till it's dry before you move it. All ready to go. Now I'm just going to do the same thing here. Making sure I have it where I need it. and make that cut so I know I've got the right size piece of clay. Now that's dry, it's on my tile to bake. They're all ready to go. I'm going to pop these in the oven at 275 for about a half hour. Now that they're out of the oven, I'm going to work on the backs. So here I'm just taking my poly paste and pasting it on the back so I can put my clay on there and have it stick. I'm just going to set it on there and I'm going to go around it with my craft knife. Just going to smooth my edges out, and I am going to texture the back. Here I'm using a little baggie. It's got some texture to it. It's kind of nice. It's really subtle. I just didn't want to go with something with too much texture. Okay, now I've got my wire here. We're going to make some loops on each side because we're going to put some beads in there. I'm using 22 gauge wire. And here I cut my length of my wire I want. Now I'm going to bend it over my round nose pliers. Now I'm going to get my cutters out, and I'm just going to trim those off even. That's all I'm doing here, just going to trim them off even. Get over my garbage can here. Okay, and there they are. Now I'm just going to take one of those sides and I'm going to twist up and make a loop. Sorry, I'm out of view here. I'm just twisting with that very end of the needle nose pliers. Do it to the other side. Twisting that up and around. So I got a loop. Kind of pinch it together closed. So you got two eyes and a nose. I'm just going to take and set that on there, making sure that I get it centered. Like so. Just going to press that into there, just a little bit, not real hard where you smush all the clay out. You just want to press it in there where it's kind of flush, but you haven't squished all the clay out. Alright, working on the one for the other side. Same thing. Put it on the highest or the thickest point of your needle nose pliers, your round nose pliers, excuse me. Make that loop, cut them flush, and then twist those ends around where you make two loops on the other end to make that base. And push them together. And place that on the other side. Make sure you get it in the center. My eyeballs were not so good today. Still trying to center it. Okay, now that I got them right, taking a piece, rolling it out on a setting 6 on my pasta machine. I'm going to take that and I'm going to cut it up to use to go over these pieces here and lock them in. So I'm just going to cut me a little rectangle. I'm all shaky today, sorry about that. There we go. Take and split this one also, so I have both my pieces that I need. I'm just going to take that and set it on one of the ends. If I can get my fingers to work with me here. I'm just going to use the craft knife here and get them on there. So I'm just trying to get them flush here with the other end. I don't want any overhang. I want them to be right even because it's going to overhang when I start smushing it to give it texture to blend it. Get all the clay out of my way. Bring my baggie back over. And I'm just going to kind of rub it to get the texture on it. I don't want to push too hard and superly smush all the clay. You're going to have some that smushes out inevitably as you try to texture it and blend it. But that's easily taken care of with a craft knife or a silicone tool. Here you can see I just am using the side of my craft knife to bring that clay back down and get it out from the loop that we made. And now I'll do the same thing with the other side, just rubbing my finger over it, texture it. Try not to smush it too much. And again, I will take my craft knife here on the side and just smush those pieces back down to where it's all nice and flush. I'm going to go back over the whole thing to get my fingerprints out of anything that they may have gotten into. I'm going to take and make sure all my sides are even and everything. And just keep in mind, the more work you do now, the less work you have to do after it's baked. So I like to make sure that I get it all nice and smoothed out before I pop it in the oven. Making sure it's all even and smooth. So that's got it. Here's a look at it close up so you can see what it looks like. There it is from the other side, so they just peek out there a little bit. So I'm going to do that with all the rest of them and pop them in the oven. Bake them at 275 for 1 hour. Alright, now they have come out of the oven and they're cooled. I'm using Lisa Pavelka Magic Cloth today. And I'm just going to do the outside edge first. One tip I will share with you here real quick. Do not put your resin on first when you're using Lisa Pavelka and then pop it in the oven. I was going to drill through these originally, but when I baked it, they turned very, very yellow. So do not put Lisa Pavelka Magic Gloss in the oven. And it will save you the time from having to redo your pieces. Alright, so now that my edges are done, I'm going to go ahead and do the insides. I like to pop my bubbles when I first start and then pop them again after I have finished it up. This is what just seems to work for me, so that's how I do it. Okay, now I have them all done, and here I'll show you the beads I'm using. I'm using black with little flakes of like gold colored little lightning strikes or whatever. I love these, they're very pretty, so that's what I'm going to use with it. And here I've got it all spaced out how it's going together. Got my little beads, all my other good stuff. Okay, I have my 24 gauge wire out trying to use it, but it was just too thin. So I'm going with my 22 gauge. So just cut me off a long piece. And I'm going to make my curly Q here. Sorry, I go out of frame. Open the loop back up after I make the loop. Put it through there. I like to grab my angled pliers. It just makes it easier to hang on to, I think. I don't know why, but I feel it does. I'm going to use my round nose pliers now and wrap that around a couple times. Locking that in. Take my cutters and cut off that tail. I like to take my crimper tool and make sure that's nice and flush. Nothing sticking out that's going to get anybody. Put my bead on. Use my round nose pliers again. Just bend that over. Come up. Bend it over again. Go down and through. Wrap it around. Open my loop. And put my next piece on. Lock that in. Making sure it all looks right. I grabbed the wrong side is what I did. So grab my round nose pliers. I'll wrap that around there a couple times. Or until it meets the bead. Anyway. Maybe 2.5 times there. Okay, I'm going to cut that off. Try to get as close as possible without cutting into my loop. A lot of times I just take and make a mark in it and bend it up to where it comes off. Use my crimper tool, make sure that I got it nice and flush. And there we go. So I'm going to do that with all the rest of the pieces, and then I'll be back. Okay, now that I have it all linked together, I got my chain here. And I'm just going to cut off what I think I need. Now you can't see it, but I am measuring it out on my tape measure that I have taped to the table. I love having my tape measure taped to the table. It makes it all so much easier. Here's a little tip on how I like to cut my other side of my chain. I just grab me a head pin or eye pin or whatever I happen to have on hand, and I just put them together, line it up, and then cut the link out that I don't need, and they're both the same size. Easy peasy. Alright, now that that's done, I will get out everything else that I need so we can finish up this necklace. I apologize, I should have zoomed in, but here I've got my jump rings. I believe they are 4mm. And that's what I'm using to attach my chain to the necklace. So I open it up, put it on the chain, put it on the necklace, and then twist to close it back up. And I'll do the same thing with the other side. Grab my jump ring. if I don't lose it. Open it up. Sorry, it's off camera. Put it through the chain and put the necklace through there. Close it back up. There we go. Okay, here's everything I need to finish it off. I got my 6mm jumper in here, I do believe. Twist that open. Put that on the end of my chain here. And then twist it back closed. Making sure it's all the way closed. Grab my 4mm jump ring. Twist it open. Put my claw clasp on there. Don't close it yet. I don't know why I'm doing that. Put your chain on it first and then close it. There we go. So now just put this together here. Making sure it all looks good. There we go. And that's our necklace for today. So if this tutorial was helpful to you in any way, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to ring that bell so you get notifications when I post a new video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Stay tuned for the contest rules.